Hey, my hijab story. So the hijab is what Muslims and native Arabic speakers call the head covering and modest attire that Muslim women wear. We like to say that this is just hijab, but actually it's the whole thing. It's like a covering for the entire body. It talks about, it indicates, not just the headscarf, but modesty in action and in what you're wearing and how you behave. But even I will say, hey, do you have a purple hijab? Do you have a red hijab? Meaning just the headscarf. So I misuse the term, and it's become so widely accepted and misused by everyone so commonly that we all just accept it and we understand what it means. But when you break it down, the hijab is the full, it takes into consideration the full body and also some of your behavior and interaction with others. So my hijab story is kind of, I think, it isn't really unique or fantastical at all. I guess to some, I started covering young for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. I was 9 years old. It's also when I started going to an Islamic school in Canton. But the thing is, they didn't require that you wear hijab until the 6th grade, and yet I started wearing it on my own, of my own volition, when I was in the 4th grade, so I was 9. And I remember the day I chose to do it when I started the school, and my mom was telling me it was an Islamic school and it was private, and that she thought some of the girls might be wearing hijab, but definitely some were not as well. Before I walked in the parking lot, I just grabbed a scarf from my bag and I just decided to put it on and wear it. That was how I became a hijabi. However, technically that's how I became a hijabi, when I didn't need to. However, I did take it off once. Again, I was 9, or I was, it was a couple weeks later where I took it off, and it happened to be the one day I took it off was photo day for 4th grade class, and so I took my hijab off without realizing it was photo day, and then we go in, we line up, we take a picture, and I remember, I still have the picture obviously, my hair, my bangs were like flipped, like in the 80s style, and it came to like the center of my cheek, and I had it like, my bangs flipped, and the rest was like, pulled back. I think it might have been some kind of braid or some kind of, I don't know, I did it too. I was at my house fixing my hair. It wasn't anything fancy, it was actually a quick do, and I decided not to wear it that day just because I was like, well, the other girls in my class don't, only 3 of us do, and like they require it in 6th grade, so why not? I'm gonna stay here until I graduate from 8th grade. That was the highest grade they went to, so why not just wear it, I mean, why not just wait until I have to wear it? Why not just be a kid? So I decided to take it off, and then I took the picture, and that day at the end of it, I was just like, you know what? I like being identifiable as Muslim. Like, I like it. I'm little, I'm young, but I really like it when people know that there's more to me, that I'm not just a girl. Like, I have these kind of beliefs that form reasons why I do things and why I act a certain way, and the best way to notify everyone that I am this girl, that I have these beliefs and these philosophies and I do certain things in a certain way, is to have something as visible as the head covering on your head. Because when you're like, I don't know, a mile away from someone in the distance, you may not be able to see like how bright their teeth are, or the color of their eyes, even if they're, a stunning green or blue. But you do notice like a hood on their head, even from a distance, and it gets you to thinking, and I like that. So it also, I turned to the Quran. I used to read the Quran all the time when I was little. I loved it. I used to read a lot, all kinds of things. Anything I could get my hand on, I would read, and the Quran wasn't any exception. So the Quran says that the reason women cover, number one, is because Allah says so. That's enough for me. Like, that's it, right? But of course He knows that we're curious beings and we like reasons for things. And so He also provided a reason so that they're identifiable as Muslima, as women of the Ummah. So that's a second reason. And then a third reason, well, I wouldn't even call it a reason, but it was just kind of like an extra information for the reader to have, was that so the female, the woman, doesn't get harassed, or some translators use the word molested, or assaulted, or bothered. It could be any of those words. All of those words are kind of like synonymous with the Arabic word. It's so that they not be bothered, molested, harassed, assaulted, all of the above. And so that would be the three reasons why women have to or should cover if they're able to. And you know, I believe that Islam and the Quran is for all eternity and all time. So like there's no era or period in time where God will be surprised like that this happened. So He's already seen it. He's already seen what's going to happen and how it's going to be and how challenging it may be on some days, or how difficult it may be, or how risky. He's already seen it, and yet He's still, you know, laid down the command and prescribed this for us to do. So I think it's good to do, and if you could do it, and if you believe in it, you should do it, and you should work towards it. Even if you can't, like, start by wearing a headband if you're older. Start by doing something every day. Just get in the habit of putting on something extra every day, and then make your way up, you know. I think it's been very beneficial to me, and I've worn it a few different ways, and aside from taking it off when I was 9.5, just on a whim, and then putting it back on the next morning, and no one noticed. My parents didn't even notice. Aside from that, it was fine, and it was totally my choice. I actually was a gymnast up until I was 10. I even went back when I was 12, all girls, but because I wore hijab, like, you know, it wasn't really working, and there were all these other things like competition, and like certain fathers would come and pick their daughters up of my colleagues or my peers that were fellow gymnasts, and like they would stay and linger, and like I always felt like that was gross. You know, we're 12 years old, and like I don't know, it made me feel a certain way, and I feel like they were feeling a certain way, the males, the fathers that were there, because, you know, they weren't looking at their daughters in the same way that they were looking at everyone else's daughters, and it was kind of like, well, how does that work? You know, we're all around the same age, and you know, if you can refrain yourself from doing that to your own daughter, then, you know, some decency would have you do that. But anyway, wearing the hijab is not for men. Like I said, none of the reasons that I listed, the three I gave you, God said so, to be identified as Muslims, and so that we're not bothered, have to do with men. So it's not my responsibility to dress a certain way for men. Like, I'm not responsible for what you think by seeing me or looking at me. I'm not responsible for any of that. And just like, you know, I'm not responsible for how you feel upon seeing something that exists outside of myself, or that happened that has nothing to do with me and the way I live my life. So we kind of believe in that, you know. And it's everyone else's responsibility to lower their gaze and look at things that are wholesome only, and to be kind and try your hardest and all that stuff. But yeah, I've worn the hijab different ways. You know, I think there's a lot of styles that you can do while still maintaining modesty, and while still only showing like your face and your hands, and in some cases your feet. And I don't mind. You get really creative, you get really crafty, and you can still be fashionable and modest, as is evidenced in the new Mipsterz video, Somewhere in America, Jay-Z narrating or singing, or rapping along. I think you should check it out. I really liked it. So yeah, that's my hijab story. Started wearing it about 9.5, took it off for a day, put it back on, and it's been on ever since, in different colors and fabrics and styles. And I like to wear it every day. I choose to wear it every single day. I choose it. I like it. I like to be a part of something that's bigger than myself and represent something so beautiful as Al-Islam.